Hello DIY wrappers, I'm Matthew with Wraphx, and today we are going to do a tutorial on how to wrap corners. But before we do, please like and subscribe down below. Okay, I know corners could be a little difficult at times when you're first starting out, but no worries. Today we're going to kind of show you how that process works and how the pros do it and the certain techniques that they use. Alright, now to it. First, you'll need a heat gun, 730 watts, frog tape, a squeegee, 3M, Gold Squeegee with a felt on it, a Flextreme tool, 30-degree blade, they're breakaways, those work good, and then some Knifeless tape made by 3M, I love this tape, and I'll see you at the truck. Okay, first steps is I went ahead and frog taped everything other than the fender. So everything around the fender. And the reason why I did that was I don't want the vinyl sticking to anything but the fender. And you'll see later on in this video why when I go to shrink everything after I've stretched it. The second step, I went ahead and knifeless taped the flange area inside of the fender, because I was just a little concerned of taking a blade to it, so I went ahead and just knifeless taped it. Step 3, this is when I'm going to heat it up a little bit and then stretch and then lay it back down. And what this is going to do, going to stretch it in a way along this line and then along this line. So I'm stretching with my lines, so that would end me up in the middle of this corner basically. And the reason why I'm doing that is because this is a bend, and when you have a bend like that, it's longer on the bend than it is on the flat spot. So essentially what will happen is they'll want to bunch up and not lay down properly. So the way we solve that is we stretch that area in a way, or manipulate that area in a way that we can potentially come back and shrink it up after the fact. So I'm just going to basically pull it off of that corner a little bit, so I have something to stretch, and I'm going to make sure that this area is off too, and I'm just going to heat it up a little bit, not too much. Want a nice even stretch here. So my goal is I'm going to pull this to this corner right here, all of this. To that corner. Step 4, I'm going to squeegee everything that I've stretched. You might find yourself pulling up after the fact, but that's okay, knowing that you've stretched it anyway. Now if I was to stretch initially this way, I'm going against this linear line right here. So what that would do is when I go to heat it back up, it's going to tension back in the wrong opposite way, and it's basically going to crinkle up on this edge, and that's a big no-no. So now that I've got it all squeegeed, that would complete that step. Step 5, the heat shrink process. This is the fun part. What you've stretched will actually shrink. So here it is in action. So after you've stretched it, obviously you want to get it down because we have knifeless tape underneath here. So that's where the point I'm going to get every bit of it down to, so we can pull the line later. And if you noticed, right in this area, it just falls straight off. So that's somewhere I'm going to just take my knife and nicely cut that out. It's just voided back there. Now that I've got it all down to the tape, that part is good. Step 5.5 is a micro version of step 3 through 5. Again, only directed in this general vicinity, just to focus on the actual end corner here. So let's get to it. I'm just gonna pull it up. And let's say I tend to do it about an inch or two. And why I do that is we basically are focusing on this corner. We want to get the vinyl wrapped nice and tidy around this corner. Basically, if you look underneath, it wraps up to the top of my finger. So every bit of that needs to be wrapped to my fingernail. So steps 3 through 5 here, I'm going to repeat, beat it up. Even wanting the tension back already, but that's okay. I'm pulling it in a way where I'm stretching this line and this line, or body lines, right down to this corner, right? So once that's down, I know where the end is. I simply will just lift it back up and then pull my fingers out a little bit, because that line you want to stretch around that corner. And then fold it in. Make sure it's seated with your thumb and it's not going anywhere, because that's your anchor point. If that anchor point moved, it would defeat the whole shrinkage point or purpose around shrinking everything around that corner. So squeeze it back down. I'm just going to get rid of some of this, so when it shrinks, it's not going to snag on anything. So here we go. Without snagging, lift that up, it'll just... So I've relieved every bit of tension, and it's wrapped itself around that entire bend nice and tight, which that's what you want to see. You're not going to get any kind of lifting. It's going to be sealed for life, essentially. You just squeegee that part back down. Just wrap down to the knifeless tape line right there, and we'll call that step done. Step 6. This is when you're going to actually cut everything, and I like to start with the knifeless tape first, because it's easier to do the knifeless tape and then cut with the knife in the spots that need to be cut last. So here I go. Typically take it, roll it back a little bit, put my finger on the back side and just yank it a little bit. Well, that didn't work. And it breaks the line. So once the line is broke, then I could rod it up to the actual piece of vinyl, put my finger back on it, and pull. Now you can see one nice long consistent pull. It's just cutting the vinyl. And once it gets to the end there, that's it. Take my blade, pull the excess off, pull the line out from underneath it, and then just squeegee everything down. So now that I've got the knifeless tape eliminated and cut, I'll go with my knife. Yep, we're good to go. So now I'll cut the excess off with the blade that is not on the flange part, where it just falls off. Hard edge right there. Same thing here, hard edge. Falls right off. There's a void behind it. Cut that away. And Roll over all the hard edge places where you just cut. Eliminate the excess. For this purposes, I'm just going to stop here since we were demonstrating the corner. So that would complete that step. And step 7. This is when I come back and I'll post heat everything with my heat gun just to make sure all the edges are down and nice and neat and they're not going to come up. And you could catch something coming up with this heat after you cut it. And if you don't really see anything of that nature, then chances are it's going to be down for a very long time. And that looks good. I don't see anything coming up. So there you have it. That's how you wrap a corner. Okay, DIY wrappers, that about sums it up for today. I hope these tips and tricks help you conquer a perfect corner next time like the pros would. Please be sure to subscribe and like our channel for more tutorials. Just remember, practice makes perfect. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither were your wrapping skills. Until next time.